Good afternoon, Levi. Yep, that's right. I still haven't given up on this cliche. Happy Monday, happy start of the week. I'm not excited, honestly, for the rest of the week. I'm pretty tired. I feel like I didn't even get a weekend, and I'm just right back into school. Mostly because I watched way too much football, but that's okay, because sometimes you just have to watch some ball. I really liked your video on Saturday, mostly because it gives me an excuse to talk about my favorite book of all time, Fahrenheit 451. That's right, it's time for literary analysis. Just in case you forgot what your own video was about on Saturday, here's a brief little overview. You talked about George Washington and how he has been mythified through American history throughout the years, and that reminded me of a certain quote, section, passage is the right word. That reminded me of a certain passage from Fahrenheit 451, which I will read to you now. It's been a long time. I'm not a religious man, but it's been a long time. Faber turned the pages, stopping here and there to read. It's as good as I remember. Lord, how they've changed it in our parlors these days. Christ is one of the family now. I often wonder if God recognizes his own son the way we've dressed him up. Or has it dressed him down? He's a regular peppermint stick now, all sugar crystal and saccharin. Yes, I do have my own copy of the book. Don't at me. So I know at the end of your video, Levi, that you mentioned that you don't really know if the mythifying of historical figures is a good or bad thing. I'm going to take the stance that it's a bad thing. If you want to post a rebuttal video on your day tomorrow, I'm totally open for that. So the way Fahrenheit 451 looks at the deconstruction of historical figures, and I know it's a little bit different since it's Jesus, and not George Washington, but it goes along with what you were saying about George Washington too, is that the ideal version of him that we made throughout history is so textbook good, if that makes sense. Like where everything, all of his characteristics have gone away, and he just becomes a good leader, which doesn't mean anything. Which I think Ray Bradbury did a really interesting job of looking at Jesus, especially since the whole point of like the New Testament is showing how Jesus wants you to live, and taking that mentality and boiling it down to live good. And I think that just shows the idealism of the society portrayed in the novel, and how it's very surface level. Everything in the novel is surface level, and that's where the problem comes in with George Washington. Now, I'm sure George Washington was a good person. I mean, personally, I've never met the guy, but there had to be a reason why he kept being chosen to be the leader of a new country. But the problem with it is that when you boil someone down to just being good or bad, that gets rid of the complexities that humans hold, and it allows, I wouldn't say allows, it gets rid of the opportunity of learning, where, like I said, I brought up the point of Jesus in the Bible. The whole point of him going through and being human on earth is teaching everyone else how to act, and how to be a good person, and how to be neighborly, and how to love other people, and what that looks like in a real life. And the way that all these historical figures are getting stripped down to being good people is that it gets rid of those examples. Basically, we can't have people just being good. If we forget everything about that person, that doesn't make it valuable for in the future. Like saying, yeah, there's a good person who ruled our country at one point. That's good, I guess, for us, but that doesn't do anything for anyone looking for, like, guidance. The way that Fahrenheit 451 handles this situation in sort of an extremist view of how this kind of simplification and shortening of everything in human history and the state of the human soul, it gets to a point where everything is simplified so much that it doesn't have meaning anymore. And when it doesn't have meaning, there's no point to any of anything. Sorry I just bored you with literary analysis. Anyway, Levi, I've got to get back to doing my actual English homework. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Tuesday.